Hey guys, it's time to use our WundaCore to find our low belly in every move. Let's get started. We're going to begin today with bridges on our back. Take that WundaCore around your calves. Both feet go inside. It goes around the widest part of your calves and lower down onto your mat into a bridge position. Arms are long at your sides, feet are parallel, and lift the hips up into your best bridge. We can pause here for just a moment and find the access line of the outer leg rolling all the way up into the waistline, which in turn is going to light up our transverse abdominis in our low belly. All right, from here, guys, we are going to tip the left hip just a little bit so it drops down towards the ground just a tiny, and then we're going to inhale as we slowly roll down from behind the heart and our pelvis hits the floor last. Unwind to center, pick it back up in a hinge to the top of your bridge, tip the right hip down to the floor ever so slightly, and now we're rolling down with an inhale, elongating our body, pelvis touches down last, return to center. We're going to repeat that side to side. Keep working on your end. So the idea is that we are finding a deep abdominal connection into the lower belly, across in a diagonal as we work. We can find that even better if we keep our feet with equal weight under the soles of our feet and intention outbound into your WundaCore, and that's going to keep everything organized for you, keeping the knees from tipping in or folding out, and that's going to find the inner thigh connection that crosses the pelvic floor into your waistline. Beautiful. Jessica is our challenger mat today, so I'm going to invite for her the next time she comes up. She's tipping towards the right, and I'm going to invite her right heel to pick up as she's going down in this direction. So you can alternate your heel raise in the same direction you are picking or tipping the pelvis to that side. All right, beautiful. And Esther here is going to be demonstrating modifications. So you might notice that she's not going into the largest range of movement. You might take it at your own pace and find a lot of activation through the arms, through the body, supporting you in addition to the hamstrings and the outer thigh into the waistline. So let's even our body out, find equal work on both sides, and then we're going to float that WundaCore into a tabletop. So finish out that set. And we're going to bring our legs into a tabletop position with our hands interlaced behind the base of our skull. The head peels up and off the mat, and Esther's showing us keeping the head down if that's a better solution in your body. We're going to inhale as we hinge the hips open. Don't change the bend of the knees. And then we're going to exhale, float the legs back to start. So we're initiating from the thigh bones, from the top of our femur heads. Exhale as we pick it up, drop the thigh bones deeply into the pelvis. Inhale as we lower down. Finding the pelvis neutral. So we want to have our hip bone shining straight up to the sky. And we want to make sure we don't rock the pelvis as we lower and raise the legs. Exhaling down. And inhaling up, keeping everything steady. I've flipped the breath on you so that we can find the challenge in two different ways. You can kind of pick whichever one works best for you in your body. You can do an inhale down and an exhale up if that worked better in your skin. But just do the one where you find the most challenge and make sure you keep breathing no matter what you do. Last one. Bring it back up to start. Head can go down, and we're going to slide that WundaCore in between the thighs. So we're going to go halfway between knees and hips. Arms are long at your sides, and unfold the legs straight up towards the sky. Arms are actively imprinting into the ground, and we are going to inhale as we pick our hips up off the mat, and exhale, set it back down. As we rise, we want to think about not traveling super far and super quickly. We want to find that little lift from the deep abdominal connection, and the WundaCore between our legs is going to keep that organized, that we have the inner thigh talking to the waistline, talking to the low belly as you lift. Arms are active, you only have one more. And bring it all the way down. We're going to go into side lying on our right side, and the WundaCore is going to be under our left hand. So bring yourself with your right arm under your head. The WundaCore is the wide way on the mat, and you have two long legs hovered off the mat. From here, we're going to go into our scissors with our outer thighs magnetizing in, The left shoulder is melting down and the right ribs are floating away from the mat. They might touch, but we don't want them resting down. Here we go. On the inhale, top leg scissors forward, right leg scissors back. And then on the exhale, pass through center. Inhale, other way. Now right leg goes forward, left leg goes back. Exhale through center. So it is a narrow range of movement. We want to stay about as wide as our mat as those legs extend. We want to find some intention downbound into the WundaCore. You'll feel it shake below you. That's okay. We want that unstable base, that unsteady base, helps us to find the connection from the inner thighs to the core. It is marrying your right hip across to your left shoulder at a diagonal and vice versa, left hip to right shoulder. So see if you might find that diagonal connection in your body as the legs scissor. Thinking about that scissor happening from the upper inner thighs rather than from the feet. So we don't want to think about moving from far away from our core. We want to keep it really close to the center of the body. Let's go for one more. And we're going to have two legs stacked, one on top of the other in line with the pelvis. Esther's going to show us with the bottom leg down and bent. And Jess and I are going to keep our bottom leg long. Here we go. Top leg floats up. And then it's going to arc forward towards the floor. It doesn't have to touch. And then it's going to arc up to start. So we start at the top and arc down. So that's a sincere balance challenge. It's a lot of work through the core as we arc forward on the exhale. Inhale, bring it back to start. So we're moving from the top of that left thigh bone, sweeping through the dome of the pelvis. And our core is stabilizing, and we're getting a balance and a support challenge from the WundaCore under our left hand, melting the left shoulder blade down and around the ribs. Let's go for one more. This is the last one. And bring both legs down. All right, we're going to come into a 4-point kneeling position. This time we have the WundaCore between our left thigh and our left hand. Right hand is down on the mat. And we're going to take the right leg long in turnout, sending intention in between the thigh and the hand. Hold that steady, and we're going to float the right leg up and off the mat, looking straight down at the mat for a nice long neck. Exhale as we draw the right knee forward in external rotation. Inhale as we send that leg long. So the leg is externally rotated the whole time, outbound at a diagonal. Inhale as we reach the leg long. Exhale as we fold at the knee and draw it close to our hip. So find your own pacing here, thinking about inflating the middle back with breath so we're not hanging out in that right wrist or locking out that right elbow. Exhale as we draw it in. Inhale, send it out. Find lots of intention between the left thigh and the left hand. You can take it even further. We can go closer to the core. We can find the left hip and the right shoulder working equally to hold you steady. Let's hold the next one with the right knee bent. Hold and breathe, and we're going to go into a little butterfly here, opening from the hip. Just 4, 3, 2, last one, and bring your knee down to the floor. All right, let's rise onto our feet. We're going to go into a single leg squat on the left. So our left leg is parallel, and then we're going to take a nice little step back with our right foot again in turnout. So now we're all ready for this position from the move we just did, all right? We are going to exhale as we sink into a single leg squat. The WundaCore comes chest height, and then we're going to inhale 2 straight legs and rotate to the right. Exhale back through center. Check that your knee is coming just in front of the ankle crease. Inhale as we rotate and rise. So we're thinking about that thigh bone sinking deeply into the hip every time. And we're keeping the head in line with our spine. Inhale as we rotate. Exhale as we lower down. Find that fluid movement so we're not really stopping and pausing anywhere through the sequence. Keeping as much equal weight as you can across the sole of the left foot, even as we rise and lower. Finding the arms plugging into the middle back. We're going to go for 2 more like this. Inhale as we rise. Exhale as we lower. We have a challenge coming up on this little pose at the end. Here we go. Inhale up, exhale lower, hold. We're gonna float the arms up and overhead, and we're gonna pick up the left heel ever so slightly off of the mat. Reach the left hip back, isometric challenge for 4, for 3, 2, and heel goes down. Inhale, rise up. We're gonna go into 2-leg squats now. So we're gonna have our feet 4 inches apart parallel. The WundaCore is staying in both hands. And we're going to exhale as we sink down, deeply crease at both hips, arms overhead again. And then we're gonna exhale, keeping it overhead, elbows bend wide. Inhale for length. Exhale as we rise. We're gonna switch that breath out in just a moment, so pay attention to how that changes your experience. Inhale, lengthening in opposition as you lower. Exhale as we raise. We're gonna hold this next one down to switch the breath up. Hold, change your breath pattern, because now we're gonna inhale as we rise this time, finding length to lift us with lightness, and then we're gonna exhale to decelerate down. So that might be different than you've done a squat in the past. So check that out, see how that changes your core connection in the body. We're intentioning inbound on the WundaCore as we work. If this is aggressive in your shoulders, you can always take your arms in front of you and then towards the chest, or you can simply hold it at your chest the whole time. Exhaling down, inhaling up, last one. Exhale, hold at the bottom. If it's accessible in your shoulders, we're gonna take our elbows near our ears and our hands behind our head. It's gonna activate a lot of middle back effort, intentioning inbound on the WundaCore. Inhale, arms go long. So now we're folding and unfolding at the elbows. Exhale as we bend. Collarbones stay wide. Activating in on your WundaCore so that we find all of that effort in the muscles underneath the shoulder blades. So it's keeping them connected and mobilized on our rib basket. Here we go. 2 more. Exhale to bend. Find length in the spine. You're looking down at a diagonal. This is going to be the last one. Feel those collarbones open as the elbows bend, the shoulder blades drop. And inhale, rise all the way up. All right, let's take care of that single leg squat on the other side. Right leg is in parallel. Left foot gets a nice little step behind it. And we're gonna exhale as we lower down, sinking into that single leg squat on the right. Inhale as we rise up and rotate towards the left. Exhale, sinking down with intention. We're not just dropping. Inhale as we rise, 2 long legs. And thinking about tailbone reaching from crown of head every time we lower into that squat. And thinking about the ribs turning rather than the arms moving a lot. So it's not about how far the arms travel. We want to keep that focus with the rib basket as our initiation of that rotation. Inhale to rise, exhale back down. If this starts to get a little bit heavy or spicy on those shoulders, you can always bend the elbows, and that's going to be a lot nicer through the middle back and the shoulders, and still give you that activation. Either way, we're sending energy and intention inbound on that WundaCore to help inflate the middle back and really access the midline of the body. Let's hold this next one down, shall we? Hold it on down. Arms come up and overhead if that's accessible. Right heel peels off that mat for just 4, for 3, 2, and your right heel goes down. All right, beautiful. Let's take care of that 4-point kneeling on the other side. So come onto your knees on the mat. Left hand goes flat like a starfish. Right thigh and right hand get that WundaCore, and we're gonna melt the shoulder blade down, lift away from that left hand straight away. Left leg glides long behind you and comes into turnout. Here we go. Exhale, breath, draw that knee towards your hip. It's in turnout, inhale, breath, send it long. That left leg stays in turnout as we're working, mobilizing the hip, adding power, strength, and mobility through that hip as we stabilize deeply with our core by intentioning inbound on the WundaCore. You're gonna feel the core light up and connect you with your legs. Inhale long, exhale to bend. Just a few more here. Thinking about lifting the middle back, thinking about not resting into your wrist, not kickstanding into that left elbow. we're gonna hold this next one with our left knee bent a lot, little tiny butterfly out. Just 3 more, moving from the hip, not the knee, rotating the inner thigh. Last one, and bring both knees down. All right, we're gonna lay on our left side now. The WundaCore goes the wide way under our right hand, and we're gonna find our best side lying position with 2 long legs, reaching from crown of head. Melt that left shoulder blade down, melt that right shoulder blade down, and go ahead and rock front to back on your hips. And find the bony bit under your bottom hip. That's what we want. That's where we wanna be stacked. And now the upper inner thighs scissor, just as wide as the mat. It's an inhale to scissor and an exhale to go through center. So you might feel that WundaCore kind of wiggling underneath you. That's okay. That's helping us to find core effort, find stability in the core, because we've given ourselves an unlevel surface to rely on under that right hand. So reaching and lengthening, moving with our intention from the upper inner thighs rather than from the feet or the toes passing. Check in with your body. Are you keeping it within the frame of your mat? Try to maintain that and try not to let the bottom ribs rest. You might think about the top hip reaching even longer away from the right shoulder. Let's bring the legs stacked, hold. You can bend the bottom leg if that feels better for you, like so. And then we're gonna float the right leg up without dropping the ribs. Exhale, rainbow arc forward. Inhale, bring it back to the top. Exhale, arc. Inhale forward, so you can have the knee bent. You can also have the leg long and hovered. So it's entirely up to you how we are working through this sequence, whatever feels like a good challenge in your body. Just make sure you're moving from the top of that thigh bone and not moving only from the toes. Let's go for 2 more like this. We're gonna roll onto our backs. This is gonna be our last one. And bring both legs down to the mat. All right, we're gonna go into a crisscross, and we're gonna do that on our back. It's gonna look like this. We're gonna set the right hand and right foot into the WundaCore. Left arm and left leg go long. Once we have that set up, we're gonna take the left hand up to the sky or behind the base of your skull if you want support for your neck. And we are going to peel the left shoulder blade up and off of the mat into 1 rotation. Hold. Now we're gonna invite that left leg up to scissor up, and then we're gonna exhale as we bring it down. If that feels aggressive on your low back, you can check it out on Esther's mat. She has her knee bent and doing a hip hinge, similar to how we did at the beginning of our workout. Now check in with that right hand and your right foot. There's a temptation there to really water ski and just kind of hang through the shoulder and sink into that experience. Think about lifting and reaching the leg long while you, in opposition, reach away from your foot. So you're gonna find that oppositional reach rather than hanging into that pose. Let's go for 1 more like that. We're gonna go into a teaser jump next and bring the leg all the way down. All right, so we're gonna rise up onto our forearms and take the WundaCore between the thighs, or we're gonna take it between your calves, or you can take it between your ankles. So you choose. So the thighs is the least aggressive, calves is midpoint, and ankles is gonna be the most challenging experience. Lower down onto your forearms. We're in a nice long diagonal, head is in line with the spine. Float the legs up and off the mat. It's a good time already. Here we go, we're gonna inhale, legs go long. Exhale, crease at the hips and draw it back in. So you'll notice straight away that having that WundaCore in between your legs, no matter which position it is asking for a lot of feedback into the low belly. So it is the inner thighs crossing the pelvic floor and connecting you to your low belly all the way across to the waistline. You can take it up even further all the way up into the shoulders, but we want to focus on that inner thigh connection, midline connection to the low belly as we work. Let's go for 2 more like this, and we've got our cross unders coming up next. Inhale, reach long. Exhale, bring it down. Okay, take that WundaCore, and I'm gonna ask you to take it around your ankles. So that's for everyone. And you can choose to have your knees bent or your legs long. We're gonna stay in this position on our forearms, lengthen the crown of head from the tailbone, float the legs up into tabletop. You can stay here if you have a sensitive low back, or reach the legs long. Then what we're gonna do is swivel the right ankle under the left and bring it back to start. It's a smaller range of movement if your knees are bent. Left ankle swivels under and bring it back. I'm gonna show you from a slightly different angle so you can really see what's going on here. As we're working, we have that ankle crossing under. This leg is not moving. Bring it back to center, and then left ankle crosses under. So we have to send a lot of down, or outbound rather, intention into the WundaCore so that it doesn't move on the leg. So it's a lot of effort going out as we're swiveling under. Let's go for one more. Swiveling under, even out the legs, and bring the legs all the way down onto the mat. All right, let's go ahead and lay down, take care of that crisscross on the other side. So we're gonna bring the loop around the left foot, left hand in an underhand reach. And we're gonna take the right arm up. It can be under the head if that's aggressive for you. Cross and reach the right shoulder blade up. Inhale, right leg comes up. Exhale as it lowers down. As we're working, we're making sure that we don't hang on that WundaCore. So we wanna find that reach and that oppositional experience from the shoulder across to the foot. So Jessica's demonstrating with really nice long legs and length, but this can be really taxing on the low back if you have a sensitive low back. So a great modification is to soften the knee that is holding the WundaCore, as well as doing a hip hinge with a bent knee on the floating leg. Let's go for one more like that, guys. And we're gonna flip it over, going into a plank. Bring the legs all the way down. Take the WundaCore around your ankles, and we're gonna turn it over into a plank. So flip it onto your knees. If you wanna do it once you're already on your knees, that's fine too. Hands come wide on the mat. Feet are parallel. And we're gonna lengthen our body out into our best plank. Collarbones are wide, middle back is inflated with breath. And you have options here. So we are going to either stay here in this plank. To increase the challenge, you can float one foot up, reaching it behind you, and set it back down. Or if that feels aggressive in your body, you can do one small knee bend and then change sides. So either way, you're gonna get really nice waistline, low belly activation. We're not here for long as we work. Think about that lift away from the mat so we're not loading into wrists or parking in our elbows. Find that lift and that reach. Middle back is strong. Low belly is drawn up and in. Think about it maybe even drawing away from the fabric of your pants. Let's go for 4. This is 3. We stretch in 2. And bring your knees down onto the mat. Congratulations, we made it. Let's go into some really delicious stretches here. We're gonna go into a half camel on our knees. We're gonna use the WundaCore to find a nice, beautiful open line without taxing the low back at all. So the right hand is on the WundaCore behind you. We're gonna take the left arm up and over, opening your heart to the sky. I have a little bend in my right elbow. Right shoulder is down. Take a nice, beautiful breath here, stretching through the spine. And go ahead and bring that left arm down. We're gonna loop the WundaCore on the top of our right foot, and we're gonna go into a little bit of a kneeling position, but we have the WundaCore around our foot. Now you have options of how far you bend your elbow and stretch through the quadriceps, and then you can also give it some feedback, so send your foot away from you, and you'll find a nice activation and stretch through the quads as well. So you choose what works in your body, if you're gonna kind of move through those both, or if you're going to hold one position that feels like a beautiful stretch in your body. Go ahead and bring both knees down. We're gonna take that half camel pose in the other direction. So the left hand goes behind you, right arm floats up and over, open the heart, stretching through the spine, melting the shoulder blade down. our right hand down to the mat. Loop the ball or the top of our foot through that WundaCore. Open, and again, you choose elbow bends and leg extend. So you get to choose how far you go. You can hold or you can continue kind of lengthening through that series. And go ahead and bring both knees down. Amazing work, you guys. Thanks for finding your low belly with us.